Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another video in my Memoir 44 Operation-Bagration series that I've been working on. Only 3 scenarios to go, including this one. I've already done a playtest. It was pretty close, and we're going to do another one, of course, and maybe a few more to see how this one turns out. This one is about the Battle of Brest-Litovsk, if you will. Not so much Brest-Litovsk itself, which is located over here. These 2 hexes, a Fotress hex and a railroad hex, and an exit hex over here across the western Buk River. The Russians win a sudden death if they should ever control these 3 hexes, as well as this one, the other exit hex. Both the Germans and the Russians can score points for exiting units there. As you can see, many of the German units are reduced in size. I deliberately call it reduced rather than depleted, because other than depleted units, the Russians do score victory medals for it. This just symbolizes and signifies that these units are, below regular strength, far below regular strength, supply problems, what have you, so a lot less combat effective, as you can see. And I always use upside down mine tokens for it to show just how many units there are. And the only reason that that's really important, I suppose, is that if the German player should get a medics and mechanics card, that you know that you can't upgrade these units beyond their initial strength, which is shown here. Other than that, in the first playtest, and yeah, this is a bit of a spoiler alert, even though it's possible to use that rule in practically all the scenarios in this campaign. It's really necessary for the Russians, probably, otherwise they really have to go around this river or here, and then they will still have a choke point in Slonim itself over here. They will probably have to build some pontoon bridges over here, because on this side of the map they have very little room to maneuver as well, so they will probably need that. The German 88 is well positioned here with a line of fire in several directions. Of course, the scale of these battles is such that this is not, and that goes for all of them. I mean, the scale of Memoir 44 is quite flexible anyway, but I always imagine these units, for instance, also infantry units, I imagine them having some sort of artillery support, maybe even light air support, and it's not just an infantry unit. So even if you think like, wait a minute, they cannot possibly fire dozens of kilometers away in certain cases. No, that's the artillery, or that's some attached aircraft, or maybe a few tanks that are not necessarily right here in this position, but maybe, still belong to the unit or somewhere else. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the scale is quite flexible over here, and these battles are quite large, most of them in scope. Usually it's like 70 to 100 kilometers from one edge to the other, sometimes even a bit more, I suppose. Anyway, what else do we have here? Well, still working on it, and pardon my chicken scratch, but an introduction to the scenario. 18 medals so far, and again, as in many other scenarios, the Germans start with a head start, otherwise they'd never be able to win. I haven't actually put them here yet, and as I explained in the other video, I always put them the other way around, so as to, when I clean up the board, that I don't accidentally lose some of them because I don't see them, so I always place them the other way around. The Germans start with 12 medals. They're all, and that goes for the entire campaign, maybe there are 1 or 2 exceptions, but I don't think so. They're all last to occupy medals. So even driving through it is enough, because at least temporarily they occupy that particular hex. It's 18 medals, but the Germans only need 6 because they start with 12. Obviously, their number will be going down pretty quickly, and the Russian number of medals will go up pretty quickly, typically. I think I've already explained that the Russians score a sudden death if they should control all 3 hexes of Brest, as well as the exit hex over here. What else should I mention? The Russians have 7 cards and move first. The Germans have 4. These units, as in some of the previous scenarios, the ones marked with a battle star are rearguard and reinforcement units. Of course, technically, the most important reason why they're included in the scenario in the first place is because the Germans can score for exiting units, but these units are much too close to the baseline, and that would be a bit too easy. So they're simply disallowed from doing so. We also have some special weapon assets. Well, we actually don't. No, we don't. We do. The assault guns, as I've explained in some of the other videos. When it comes to how they work, we have supported armor over here, which is explained in the D-Day expansion. We have supported infantry somewhere over here. Cavalry units for the Russians. In this particular scenario, unlike some of the 2 previous ones, I believe, I did not use any cavalry for the Germans, representing weakly armed units trying to escape the battlefield. That's what the trucks and half-tracks do. But since the Russians have cavalry too, and since they're gray and everything, I didn't want to make it any more difficult than it is. So in this scenario, I decided not to use any cavalry units for the Germans. We have exit markers, as I've explained. We do not have entry markers. Boats and rafts, collapsible boats and rafts are in place. So Russian infantry, not the supported infantry, they can, and cavalry can't do it either, but regular infantry, specialized infantry, they can use the collapsible boats and rafts ability to cross rivers. Partisans cannot. We have the deep battle rule, which I've explained several times. The Germans can score victory medals for playing a Recon 1 card, and then rather than drawing 2 new ones, simply draw 1, but also claim a victory medal. And yeah, I suppose that's something they'll always want to do, having that option. The pontoon bridges, Russians can build them. And the Germans can actually blow bridges. In this case, they have to stand next to them to be able to do so, but that goes for the entire campaign. I suppose that's all that's to it when it comes to this scenario. So I'll give it another playtest and see how that one works out, but I kind of like the first one. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.